This year, I planted zinnias in our garden, and I learned more about running a business from these zinnias than I did from the last business book I read. I'm not kidding. So here's what happened. My daughter and I have been recycling glass bottles to eventually paint them and use them as vases for a flower stand. I mean, we have to be more innovative than a lemonade stand, you know? Her mom is in marketing, duh. So we needed flowers to go with them, obviously, and I planted them in two sections. The first section, in like a standing flower box, I got a little eager. I had all these seeds and I just sort of dumped them in and I packed them super tight right next to each other because in my head, more is more, obviously. More seeds would mean more flowers. It made sense to me. But in the second section, I had actually read a little bit more. I actually flipped the package over, surprisingly, and slowed down and did it the way that you're supposed to. I spaced them out, sprinkled them sparingly, and I gave each seed a little bit of room to breathe, but not without a ton of anxiety that I wasn't doing enough, you know? But you already know how this ends. The crowded section, they're like 2-inch tall sprouts, and they have completely packed the flower box. There is absolutely no room for them to grow. In the section where I actually gave them space and did what I was supposed to do, they are thriving. They're tall and full and about to burst into blooms. It's the same seeds, the same gardener, me, the same dirt, the same water, the same amount of rain, all of it. The only difference was how much room I gave each one to actually grow. And I stood there looking at these two sections of the same garden and I thought, oh no, oh gosh, this is literally my whole career. Welcome to Ready, Fire, Aim. This is the show for the trailblazers, the risk takers, the storytellers, and the problem solvers, the ones in bold pursuit of their purpose and the business they were made for. I'm your host, Lacy Arant, brand strategist and lover of sticky notes, and this is where we wrangle the chaos of entrepreneurship. Let's dive in. Okay, I'm so happy to be here with you today. I hope that you are in a place where you can really lock in for a few minutes with me because I want to talk to you about focus. Specifically, about how the thing that is quietly strangling your business right now might not be that you're not doing enough or that you're doing too little. It might be that you're doing too much. You've got too many seeds in too small a space, and nothing is getting enough of you to actually grow. And so I want to talk about this with you because I am the queen of this mistake. I have the crown with all of the jewels, and I've made it so many times, in fact, that I could write a book about what not to do here. But before I teach you anything, I want to tell you about just one of the many ways I've gotten this so totally wrong. Before we get into that, though, let's talk about why we do this. Because if you're anything like me, you don't crowd the garden on purpose. You do it for reasons that feel really, really smart in the moment, right? And so I've got three of these for you, and I really want to know if these resonate with you. I'd love for you to shoot me a message on Instagram or shoot me an email and just tell me if like these things land because they do for me. It is why I have made this mistake so many times. But the three reasons we abandon a focus before it's ever had the chance to work. Number one is this: it's impatience with the timeline, right? The thing you've planted is actually working. It's just not going fast enough. Ugh. You don't see the sprout in week 2? Well, you've decided it's dead. You go plant something else somewhere else, right? But here's the thing about a garden and about a business. You cannot rush a growth cycle. You can't rush a season. You can't dig that seed up every 3 days just to check on it and wonder why it's not taking root. Most of the offers I see founders abandon actually weren't failing. They were just early. They needed more time in the ground than the founder was willing to give them. Many times that founder has been me. The second reason, okay, is boredom, dressed up as strategy. Ooh, I am so guilty of this. This one is so, so sneaky. But you're not actually stuck. The thing is working. You're just bored, right? You've done it for a while now, and that shiny new offer over there feels so much more exciting than the slow, intentional, consistent, unglamorous work of going deeper on the thing you already have. So you add the new thing and you tell yourself this is growth. You tell yourself you're expanding, you're diversifying, you're being innovative. I've literally said every single one of these things to myself and others. But if you're really honest, you were just bored. And boredom feels like a problem that a new project can solve, but it can't. It just gives you two gardens to neglect instead of one. And the third reason, this is a big one, is that we try to solve too many problems at once. So here's how this goes. You're good at the thing you do. And because you're good at it, you start noticing all these other problems your clients have. And you think, well, I could solve that one too. I'm capable, I'm resourceful. Why would I send them somewhere else when I could just handle this myself? And you might even think this could actually make you more money. So you bolt on another offer. And then you notice another problem. You bolt on that one. And every single time, this feels generous. It feels like you're smart. It feels like you're becoming more and more valuable to your client. And that right there is this red blinking alarm bell of today's episode. It is this belief that solving more problems makes you more valuable. And I need you to hear me say this because this belief is so sneaky and it is so wrong. I want to give you an example. I wanted you to think about your accountant. You hire an accountant to do your taxes, right? That's the problem that they solve. Now, imagine that your accountant called you and said, you know what? It's time for you to come to my office and pick up your tax return. And while you're here, I would love to run out to your car and change your oil before you leave. You would be so freaked out, like so alarmed. You would not think, wow, what an incredible value. You would think, why is my tax guy under the hood of my car? Just do my taxes. The problem that you solve is enough. In fact, the problem you solve in getting creative enough to save us a massive tax bill this year is maybe the most valuable thing that anyone could do for us right now. And we know this instinctively as customers, right? We want the accountant who lives and breathes taxes. We want the specialist. But the second we put on our founder hat, we forget this completely. And we start trying to be the accountant and the mechanic over and over again. And we call this serving our clients better, but it's not. It's just crowding the garden. And I have to fight this urge literally weekly in my business to the point that I'm having to hire people to make sure that I don't continue to do this. And so earlier I told you that I would tell you about that one time. So let's get into it. Back in 2016, I owned a Pilates studio and I loved it. It was such a great business. It was a straightforward business. People came, they did Pilates, they got stronger, they felt better. One problem, we were solving it really well. But you know me by now, and one thing was never going to just be enough. And I could only have a certain number of members in this studio. And the fact that my business had a very defined ceiling really sent me into orbit. And I'm not a fan of confinement, if you haven't realized that by now. I need to know that the sky is the limit here, okay? And so I thought, well, my clients care about how they look and feel. And so why not offer like aesthetic services too? Made sense. So we did spray tans. And yes, I took a professional course on giving them. And I even lugged a wagon up and down Sorority Row in Starkville, Mississippi, giving college girls spray tans. Literally cannot. And then we said, why don't we add lash extensions? Sure. I would like to note that I did in fact hire a professional to offer this service, but we did offer them nonetheless. We just kept adding and adding. And then this is the real kicker here. I took on a business where I sold wedding dresses out of the trunk of my car. Okay. I literally bought a kit of wedding dresses and would load them up, drive them to people's houses, and do pop-up wedding dress sales in their living rooms or my own. And this is a true story, okay? It is one I cannot believe I'm telling you, but it is true nevertheless. And this is the part where you say, were you married? Why did your husband let you do this? I don't know. I guess I had just beat him down so badly at the time. I don't know. I listen to him so much more these days, I promise you. But here's truly the incredible part. This all made sense in my head at the time, which is probably why my husband let me do it. I had this whole logic for it. I told myself, okay, people are here to work out and get healthy for their wedding. And we're in a college town. So I'll have tons of college girls at the Pilates studio getting in shape, and then they'll be getting engaged. So then I'll just help them find their dress out of my trunk, you know? And then, of course, we'll offer them spray tans and lash extensions for their big day. And it's just a one stop shop. Okay. This is a full service bridal wellness empire. And it was not. It was actually a Pilates studio that had completely lost its mind. I had forced 4 totally different businesses to hold hands and pretend they were one thing, and they weren't. A woman who wanted to take a Pilates class did not ever walk in thinking she might also leave with the wedding gown out of the trunk of my car. She wanted an expert to help her get stronger and solve the problem that she had with posture, strength, and daily function and movement. And I was actually really good at that part. But I had crowded the garden so badly that nobody could tell what I actually was anymore, including me. And that's the thing I really want you to take from this. It wasn't that any one of those things was a bad business. I mean, I would actually like to note that I quickly departed the wedding dress situation. So I did come to my senses there pretty quickly. But the problem was that I kept adding instead of deciding. I kept planting more seeds in the same little plot, certain that more offerings meant more value, more revenue, more reasons for someone to choose me. And all it actually did was guarantee that none of it ever got enough of me to grow into something real. And to this day, people still ask me, "Oh, Lacy, what are you doing now? You've always done so many things. What do you have going on these days?" And I have to tell you, it really sends me, but it's not their fault. It's mine, because this is an identity that I created for myself way early on. And so I want to turn the corner a bit because this isn't just a focus problem, it is a brand problem. And I want to give you 2 ways to think about this because they're both true and they build on each other. And we will continue to build on them together here. But the first one might reframe how you think about branding entirely. And here it is: focus is the brand. Okay. When I was running this Pilates, aesthetics, lashes, spray tan, wedding dress situation, I didn't have a branding problem in the way that most people mean it. My logo was fine. My colors were fine. That was never the issue. The issue was that I had never truly decided what I was. And a brand, at its core, is a decision. It's the decision about what you are and, just as importantly, what you are not. The wedding dress chaos wasn't a logo problem that I could design my way out of. It was the absence of a decision. And it was addition for addition's sake. Nobody could tell what I was for because I hadn't chosen. I had not decided. And so when you hear me say brand, I don't want you to think logo. I want you to think decision. The clearest brands in the world are clear because somebody had the courage to decide what they were and let everything else go. That is this work. Focus and brand are not two separate things, they are the same. And then the second way to think about it, which builds right on top of that, is once you've made the decision, once you've focused in, now you have something to build this brand on. This is the order of operations. And it's one that most people get backwards. We want to do the brand work, the messaging, the website, the whole identity on top of a business that is still trying to be 5 things. And it never holds because you cannot build a clear brand on an unclear foundation. You have to focus first. You have to decide what the one thing is. And then the brand work, the real positioning, your solution statement, all things we've talked about on the show, finally has something solid to stand on. So focus first, then build the brand on top of the focus in that order every time. And now, if out of that work, aligned offerings surface that can actually strengthen your brand and serve your customer well, great. But you can't know that until you focus and decide first. So, pulling these 2 things together, a brand is the decision about what you are and what you are not. and then everything you build to express that decision clearly and consistently. So decide first, express it second. And if you skip the decision, no amount of beautiful expression will be able to save you. You'll just have a really well designed garden where nothing is growing. This I can tell you from, unfortunately, so much experience. Now, I don't want you to leave thinking that I'm still a wellness bridal factory, because even though I still battle the need to oversolve problems, I have learned my lesson. And so today, I equip founders with the tools they need to clarify their brand first, then grow, and then scale. The work we've talked about today of deciding first, expressing second, is literally the fabric of what we do here. And it is work we absolutely love. And I want to leave you with one question, just one, and it is a hard one. So don't just, rush past it. Really spend some time with this. If you looked at your business and you had to cut everything you do except one thing, one offer, one service, one problem you're solving right now, what would it be? Which one would you keep? Not what could you keep, what would you keep? The thing you'd protect if someone made you let go of the rest. Because I'll tell you what I've learned the hard way in a Pilates studio with a trunk full of wedding dresses. Even in 2016, I could have told you, I think, that the work of starting and building out the real identity of my business and brand was my one thing. I just didn't know at the time, 15, almost 20 years ago, that that could actually be my real job the way that it is today. Praise the Lord. So that one thing you'd protect, it's almost always the thing that was working all along. Maybe the thing that lights you up, that you love the most, the one that gives you energy instead of taking it from you. You've just been too busy planting new seeds on top of it to notice that it was the thing that was trying to bloom. So plant fewer seeds, give them water, sunshine, energy, and space, and watch what happens when you finally let the one thing grow. I loved being with you today, and I'll see you next week. If you're waiting for permission, if you're waiting for perfect, if you're waiting to feel ready, don't forget, ready, fire, aim. I'll see you next time. Ready, Fire, Aim is brought to you by Endeavor, where we equip overwhelmed founders to build brands that actually generate the impact and revenue they're capable of. If your strategy needs to catch up with your vision, head to endeavorbranding.com to book a call with us. We're ready to meet you where you are and help your brand and business get to the next level.